One wonders what's going on with Ralph Rangnick at the moment, Simon. Not that Ralph's got anything to do with this speculation, but I mean, has his star fallen somewhat in terms of how you viewed him some weeks ago?
Well,
Do you view him in the same way?
I believed that he would go in and make perhaps the ship, or the ship sail a little bit better.
Yeah.
And start to straighten up and fly right as the football club. And I felt that he would have more of an effect than he has had. Now, either that's because I'm underestimating the task and the culture of that football club has deteriorated to such a level that it doesn't matter who went in there for a short period of time, they were going to struggle, or I've over-egged Ralph Rangnick, and it's probably a combination of the two. I think he puts himself now in a slightly invidious position because initially the language that was coming out of his mouth was all geared towards potentially becoming the manager. Now the language is talking about other managers coming in. So clearly he's resigned in his own mind that the management job is not for him, or he's not going to get it, likely based upon his performance. So his performance in the dugout now determines that he's one of the people that decide who goes in and does the job that he couldn't do.
Yeah.
I don't quite know what that looks like from the outside world looking in. But for me, I don't look at Rangnick in the same way that I did 3 or 4 months ago. Graham was right. The track record that he had and the blueprint, Graham Souness, didn't quite lend itself to the same sort of adoration that was being given in the newspapers. But that to one side, I still felt he was going to go in and had the character shake it up, because I thought that football club needed to be shaken up, and it hasn't been. It's just more of the same.
You wonder who's making the decisions about Rangnick at Manchester United, Trevor. 2 points on that. We understand that he said not to have been consulted over the search for a new manager, that he's not in the equation when it comes to that discussion. And then if he is to get this consultancy role at Old Trafford, some of the details are coming out on that. So the contract would be until 2024 and would comprise of 144 days' work. That's just 6 days a month.
It doesn't surprise me with Manchester United, with what's been going on over the last, 10 years. They've lacked a direction, they've lacked a philosophy, a clear philosophy which they're going to stick to. You look at the philosophy, I think it's harsh because the philosophy that they had under Sir Alex Ferguson was exciting. They had match-winning players in the team. They had a lot of fit players who would run through brick walls. They had a DNA that every player coming into that side would be expected to have that same kind of standard. Since Sir Alex Ferguson's left the football club, it's become a team of Galacticos, but don't actually fit into a certain philosophy. I agree with Simon. I've said this for a long time. It doesn't matter what manager comes into Manchester United next. If they don't get their eggs in a row properly and put the people in place that they need to, director of football, philosopher, recruitment, manager, and in that order, they're just going to end up with a mismatch of players. And you look through the side, you've got Pogba, he's ready to go. Sancho's coming as a winger. He can't beat a player, he's not quick enough. No. You've got Varane. For me, the jury's still out on him. You've got Ronaldo, can't press. So why are you bringing him to the football club in the first place? I said this last summer. He'll score a lot of goals, but will Manchester United be successful? I don't think so, because I don't think that's what they needed. And all in all, even De Gea, if you're going to start at the back line, start with De Gea. He's not good enough for his feet. If you want to play through the lines and play the modern football that all the top teams are playing, De Gea is not good enough with his feet.
So there's so many. This thing about philosophies, Trev, I'm going to push back on it and question it a little bit, because I'm not entirely sure that there is such a thing. I think there were good managers that come in and put their footprint on it. Manchester City was successful before Guardiola came in. So they didn't have a philosophy. They had, let's get the best in class. Let's get the best that we can. We thought it was Pellegrini. We think it's Mancini. We started with Hughes. Then we moved to Mancini relatively quickly. We had a little tilt of Sven-Goran Eriksson early in our first voyage towards the money. And then we've got the opportunity, because of who we are now, to get the best manager. And then when Guardiola goes, he'll have gone. And I'm not entirely sure that the philosophy of how Guardiola plays will be replicated by someone else, because Klopp took over from Brendan, and Brendan took them to the second in the league, and they should have won it this season 15 months before. Then Klopp came on with his unique brand. When Klopp goes, I don't think they'll keep the same philosophy. I think you're either winning or you're not. I think Ferguson had a culture of winning, and you did. When players come off the pitch, when he substituted, he didn't shake their hand and pat them on the back. Get off, your job's done, next person on. Yeah. There was a different dynamic and feel about it. It's not a philosophy, it's just a winning mentality.
Yeah, I completely disagree.
Okay.
The philosophy at Manchester City, whilst Pep's been playing there, has been the philosophy at Manchester City since Mancini. It's a possession-based philosophy where you play through the goalkeeper, and he's just improved it, Pep. But it is a philosophy that was...
But how do you win games without possession? I mean, everyone wants possession.
Loads of teams win games on the back foot. Look at Simeone.
But not winning. Okay, he
won the
probably
league last year
in Spanish football. But in Spanish football, that might work.
That just dismisses that argument.
Atletico wouldn't win the Premier League on that philosophy.
We've had a discussion before about the manager that comes into Manchester City next. You're saying it's going to be this huge manager, this successful,
best in class.
It's going to be the best in class of a certain style. It's going to be this style, possession-based style.
Oh yes, probably because they want to continue a brand of football.
Yeah.
They want to continue a brand of football that they've now lucked upon.
It's slightly different to Liverpool's.
Yeah, it wasn't a plan. They lucked upon it. Guardiola comes through the door because he's the best coach.
Well, no, they already had that going.
It's Mancini and Pellegrini.
It's a Barcelona.
Pellegrini.
What? Have a look at the average possession of Pellegrini.
They've got better players. You're always going to have more possession if you've got better players.
Some teams go for it. Just go for it. And win easily and
on
score
the balance
lots of
of
goals.
probability, is it a fair argument?
No,
to say
that
if
is
you've
a
got
fair
better
argument.
players, you're going to have more possession.
It is a fair argument.
But the style of Man City's gone up a gear. This isn't just about possession. This is about effective possession from the goalkeeper to the centre forward and back again.
Yeah, and that's what Manchester United have not got.
Now we'll see if the evolution of Man City, the next manager comes in, replicates that.
I think it will. I think it's insane.
You see what Trevor's done? We were talking about Ranić and United.
He's switched it onto Man City.
And he's crossed to City. We'll finish on this.
It's an illness with Trevor, you know that.
If Ranić, and this is what consumes me, if he is, I'm quite intrigued by him, if he is Simon to get this consultancy role, what does that look like?
The blind leading the blind, to some extent. Because if you can't cut it, what do they say in life? If you can't cut something, teach someone else to do it. If you can't do it yourself, teach it. Right? So you can't manage, so you'll employ the person that does. And if you're not going to be involved in the selection process, are you really a person that should be there after the process? Because they say
that's my point.
That management appointments should come to the director of football because the director of football should be the consistent person that sets the blueprint and then the recruitment policies.
What's he doing? I mean, if he's not going to be involved in the appointment of the next manager, what's he doing?
Well, I also think you've got. Well, look, I mean, he's staying the course of the contract they gave him. And ultimately, he's gone in there to do a job, and it would look pretty poor if he walked out for himself as a football person to serve and say. So he's got to stay there. What he's done there hasn't been very much. I picked him to beat Atletico Madrid. I picked them to finish fourth. They may yet, because Tottenham and Arsenal are not all they're cracked up to be. Arsenal have done well, but they're not all they're cracked up to be.
It's been unimpressive, though.
From what I did on Saturday,
has been unimpressive.
And I agree with that too.
They've got Rashford on the bench.
They're so easy to play against.
You've got Rashford on the bench and you've got Bruno Fernandes playing centre forward. I mean, Rashford might not be doing it in training. He might not deserve that chance.
No, he doesn't.
But surely someone's got to put a rock up his backside and get him moving in training, get him stimulating, get him working hard, because we know he can do it.
But he's got to do that himself as well, hasn't he, Rashford?
Listen, is City's name on the Champions League trophy, Trevor, at last for Pep?
It could be, Jim. I mean, listen, they're looking strong. The squad's looking very fit, and the rotation's gone really well. They've got a top manager.
He's so glad I asked that, isn't he?
Isn't it?
It's the same for Liverpool. Listen,
if they don't win it, Trevor,
you know what? I think Liverpool and Manchester City win the lot. That's all I'll tell you. I don't know which way it's going to go. It could go 2-2. It could go 3-1. It could go.
Don't you think, though, Trev? I mean, let's be honest about it. We have this moment to share. Right? Don't you think it's an absolute crisis at Man City if he doesn't win the Champions League? I mean, unmitigated failure.
Yes. Total failure.
All proportions.
I think there'll be disappointment, but I don't think it's a failure.
Total failure, isn't it?
It's not.
If you don't win the Champions League,
total failure.
It's a shambles.
I think it's an easy one to throw out.
All roads lead back to Catalonia.
Realistically, it's not been a failure.
It's a shambles.
Hand on heart, he's not been a failure. Come on.
Winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
Pep out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Trevor, you'll be on that day when we get right into that
I'm sure
topic.
I will.
This might be the time. You never know. Trevor, as always, brilliant, mate. Thank you so much. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Manana.
See you tomorrow. Indeed.
Okay.
Back into the forest.
Are on the way.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.